Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. It's time for your daily dose of the Commonwealth Games 2022, and we've got to begin with Murali Sreeshankar. What an absolutely brilliant performance from him, winning the silver, becoming the second Indian man to have won a medal at the Commonwealth Games, with Suresh Babu being the first in 1978. This is big for Indian athletics. This is big for long jump, and this is big for Sreeshankar. He's come close to getting on the podium in various international events, but this is the big medal for him. Sandeep Mishra is here, who's joining us. Sandeep, the fact that he was the favorite to win the gold, how do you see his silver?
No, I think it's a great performance. If you really look at the high jumps of this the long jumps of this particular season, and he has been consistently placed in the top 2, top 3 by almost every person who does track and field across the world. World Athletics had placed him pretty high. Athletics Weekly had always said that he was a favorite at this Commonwealth. In fact, Athletics Weekly had put him in the top 3 at the World Championships also.
Correct.
So, and like we were discussing yesterday, I think it's the first 2 jumps. It's always the first 2 jumps. You get them right. Even if like you are 805, 803 or 804, you're not crossing 810. I think that would have led to a 820. I do believe that. And I think he was just there. He was just there to pick up the gold.
That's why I asked the question, a gold versus a silver, given that 8.08 meters, the distance that he jumped, that was his best jump. That was the same for the gold medalist as well. But in the end, when they compared the second best jumps of the 2 long jumpers, the Laquan Nairn from Bahamas, his jump was better. It was 7.98, I think, versus 7.84 of Sreeshankar. Amit Kama joins us as well, who watched all of that action live. A lot of drama, Amit, especially right after the 3rd jump, I think, where one felt that maybe he's crossed that 8-meter mark, but it showed that he had only jumped 7.84. And then, of course, what happened in the 4th jump, we all thought that that wasn't a foul, but it was. Take us through the drama as you saw it from there.
You know, Meha, I think at some point we saw how much that jump would have meant to Sreeshankar, because we saw him trying to argue with the electronic monitor. So that just tells you how much it meant to him. He was trying to reason with it. He was trying to talk to, you know, the official sitting side by side, asking how it was even possible. So how it was actually possible was that you know, earlier the takeoff board that you have, those used to be at a 45-degree incline, and the rule was only if your foot touched the ground beyond the takeoff line, that is when you had a foul throw. But according to the new regulations which have come into place from November 2021, you know, there is like a vertical line of sorts. If you cross it with even a centimeter of your foot, you are deemed to have fouled, as Sreeshankar and the rest of India found out yesterday. Those rules are unbendable, very strict.
Yeah, 1 centimeter is what he missed it by. Now, for all of you who missed this event, he started with 7.60, went on to 7.84 in his second attempt, 7.84 in the 3rd as well. It was in the 4th when the drama started, where one felt that he'd crossed that 8-meter mark by a distance. But then you saw that there was a foul and it was a failed attempt. The broadcast cameras, they showed that he hadn't in fact crossed the line, and everybody wondered what was going on. But now that, as Amit was suggesting, as he was saying, that there's a new rule now since November 2021, and we're going to discuss this as well because we all have different views on this. But the new rule suggests that there is a vertical plane, and during your takeoff, instead of you know, the plasticine, even if you've not touched or you've not crossed that mark, if during your takeoff your boot has crossed the vertical plane, then that's a foul. And that's what apparently happened with, that's what in fact happened with him. Now, I think the problem here is, Sandeep, that first of all, can we just get broadcast cameras that show us the other cameras so that we're not confused? Secondly, I mean, how much more accurate do you want to get? Yesterday we saw in under 19 championships as well, somebody losing by 1/6,000th of a second.
Yeah,
and today we're talking about him losing this by 1 centimeter.
I think the way you say the 6,000th of a second is the classic example. I mean, how do you get the 1 and 2 then?
Yeah.
To the naked eye, they are equal. To the broadcast cameras, that point that you just made, they are probably more than equal.
Yeah.
So you got to separate them at some point. So you know, and more technology is going to flow in. In fact, all of this actually started at the World Indoors.
Yeah.
You know, if you recall that entire controversy that happened, people starting tweeting, including the great man Carl Lewis. You know, though Carl Lewis's tweet, I'm still not able to understand that. He's not saying, okay, these are the solutions. He's just on a rant.
Yeah.
Okay, that why are you doing this? But the point here is that at some point, technology has to come in and will come in. I mean, 60s and 50s and 40s, there were nothing to differentiate between the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Of course, the competition wasn't this severe. You know, it wasn't so close. And now everything is completely, and I do agree, if you, like Amit was saying, I mean, the way he went to the camera and he kind of, I first thought he just might say, what the hell is happening? And then when he saw the actual one, he calmed down a bit and he just went over to his side, to his father, whoever was there, and said, 1 millimeter, you know.
So like Sandeep is saying, for all of you who've not heard about this, World Indoor Championships, that's where this controversy started because the rules came into play then. And Carl Lewis at that point has said the rules committee has destroyed the field events on his Twitter. That's what he said. They are an embarrassment to this in any sport. They have no beep clue about any of these events. This makes no sense as we went down this road in the 1980s. Who brings these ideas up in the first place? Shara Proctor, the British record holder with 7.07 meters, she's also expressed surprise over this. I want to know, what was the conversation like in the press box amongst the media? You know, what were they saying about this, Amit?
Look, first of all, I mean, it's the rules are there for a reason. So even when you know, Sreeshankar came to the press conference later on, he didn't blame the organizers. He wasn't you know, sad about it, because Sreeshankar had a very refreshing take about it. He pointed out that in his career, be it his junior career, be it his senior career, he's always had this spate of results where he's been 6th, 7th, 5th, but never on the podium. So this for him, for a 23-year-old being on a podium at the Commonwealth Games, getting silver, that too, he realizes that he might just become the biggest star from track and field for these Commonwealth Games now that Neeraj is not there and Seema Punia has not won a medal. So I think there was that realization also. So I don't think he was sore at all. I don't think he was, you know, besides that one brief moment where he tried to reason with the with technology, I think he just gave in and accepted it.
In fact, let's listen in to Adil Sumariwala, the president of the Athletics Federation of India. He's trying to explain to the media what the new technology, what the rule means with this new laser technology. Also, let's listen in to Murali Sreeshankar himself.
It was really unbelievable because it was not even 1 centimeter, because when I saw the foot planted on the board, it was a perfect takeoff. But with the new technology we have a laser system, like we have like a kind of plane in between the takeoff board and the foul board, a perpendicular plane. So if our foot, if we hit the board perfectly and the foot goes and and if it crosses the perpendicular kind of plane, that's it. Oh, 0.1. It says 1 centimeter. No, but that's not 1 centimeter.
What's your understanding? You don't understand. it gets planted and then this happens.
Okay, yeah. So if the planting happens,
yeah,
it
there
goes
is a
like-
laser beam. There is a laser. There is not master seed. It's a laser. So here you may be okay, but when you do this, the top of the toe goes over. It's a laser.
So, like with the introduction of this new system, even Ivana Stanovic lost a medal shot at Oregon World Championship. So she was also complaining. A lot of athletes, like jumpers, are facing this issue, but it's a new technology.
This just started in the World Indoor Championship.
Yeah, World
for the
Indoor
first time.
First time.
And there were a lot of protests actually.
Amit, I'm all for technology, but then we don't have this technology in domestic meets. I mean, is that something then now that AFI should look into? Amit?
I'm assuming it's very expensive to get this technology. Besides, I don't think Indian jumpers are that close to each other. Besides, I mean, I don't really see why we need to get into that many details. Because for international competitions, I understand the stakes are really high. But to have this sort of a setup for something as domestic at domestic meets where you spend so much and you use it pretty much maybe for one time at the Federation Cup or the Interstate, whichever is the higher ranked competition as designated by the AFI, it kind of doesn't make sense fiscally.
Makes sense. I mean, I do get where he's coming from, being slightly disappointed. At the same time, they don't have this technology here. But having said that, at the end of it all, he's won a silver, Sandeep. In terms of the medal itself, what does this mean for Indian athletics?
It's big. It's like Amit says, he realizes the fact that he's going to be the track star since Neeraj is not there. Of course, you still have Hema, who just might do something extraordinary and win the 200. But I think what you can see is this massive relief in an athlete that he's finally got onto the podium. You know, when he actually realized he's won it, you could see on his face, it was like there was some 3,000 emotions going through him. You know, how to express, what am I supposed to do now, how to kind of, you know, basically get into this whole act of, you know, where this medal belongs and all of that. But I think he comes from a state where, like you probably also asked him about Suresh Babu and TC Yohanan, I think he's extremely, and he will be, once it dawns on him, the weight or rather the exuberance and the excitement of that silver medal, he will actually realize the history of that state from where he's now the third person to be, you know, in a Commonwealth or probably a podium of this stature. I think that's what's going to really drive him and propel him to an Asian Games, to honestly, God willing, to a Paris podium, you know, at this point of time. But those are things that are for later, and you know how AFI and how he and his father, his coach, all of them go around this.
Okay, let's also listen into what Murali Sreeshankar had to say about the medal, who he wants to dedicate this medal to. We spoke to him a little while earlier. You come from a state which has produced great long jumpers like Suresh Babu, who in fact had won the Commonwealth Games bronze, and there was TC Yohanan as well. How much of it was them inspiring you, and you know, the whole idea of carrying that legacy forward?
Actually, Kerala has produced some great long jumpers, and we all know that Anju ma'am is also from Kerala.
Yes.
And also now the three triple jumpers we have over 17 meters, and of course like 2 long jumpers we have in from Kerala. So Kerala is really producing some good jumpers. And of course, Suresh Babu sir has won Commonwealth Games bronze medal in 78, and Suresh Babu sir happens to be the coach of my dad, and my dad is coaching me now. So it's a kind of tribute to him. To dedicate this medal to him, it will be like a huge thing for me, because my dad has been coached by Suresh Babu sir for a very long time, and it will be kind of tribute to him.
Now, I do see a lot of camaraderie between you, Tejaswin Shankar, Neeraj Chopra, all of you. Tejaswin was there at your event. Your father went for Tejaswin's event. What is that camaraderie like? Tell me more.
It's a great feeling, to be honest, because myself and Tejaswin, we have been in the circuit ever since from the junior category. We've been knowing ourselves since the junior years, and with a mentor and brother like Neeraj Bhaiya to guide us and motivate us all through. It's a good camaraderie, as you said, because Neeraj Bhaiya's gold medal has really inspired a lot of athletes. Now with 3 days of athletics schedule, we have already won 2 medals, and the tally will certainly keep on moving higher. So really looking forward for some great performance from the athletics team. And this has been a big revolution for the Indian athletics, honestly, because Neeraj Bhaiya's gold at Tokyo last year has set up a big revolution in Indian athletics. Now, if you see the performances of our juniors in world championships also, we already have like 2 medals now.
Yeah, he's sweet, and I just really wish him luck for his future, Sandeep. But one thing that stood out for me there is the fact that he's dedicated this to Suresh Babu, and means a lot, given that Kerala is a state which is producing athletes, most number of athletes right now who are doing well. Also, he talked about this revolution in Indian athletics, Neeraj having won a gold in Olympics, but more than that, just there are a lot more athletes coming through. You've been talking about the Under-19 World Athletics Championship. Right now, how do you see the athletics scene in India?
It's really on a fast track mode right now. I mean, the world U20s, and if you really look at the amount of Asian countries that have really gone into the finals, it's enormous. I mean, at least there are a couple of them, 1, 2, 3 in different finals, which means that it's just not India. Asia is catching up on track and field largely. And I do also believe, the way Sreeshankar in his interview to you says about Suresh Babu. I think if you understand history, if you kind of go back and let it inspire you, and this goes for all junior, sub-junior athletes, I think this performances, and for them to look up to something, really goes up. If you understand what happened in the past, you actually understand where you stand right now and where you can reach in the future. A lot of good coaches actually say this, and I think if he's gaining from it, if he's remembering all that through his father and all, of course he's going to go probably higher than what he's already done.
I also asked him about whether he was going to celebrate, and he said, no, I'm just going to, basically he just said it's not going to be too much celebration. I want to just focus on my next big event. And I said, come on, you can take a day's
But he's
off.
he's got a lot of days off right now.
Yeah, but he says he's not going to celebrate. But well, let's not move on to hockey. Indian women's team, they will be playing Australia in the semi-finals of the Commonwealth Games. Now, the last time these two teams met, we know what happened. India really played a match of their lives. I mean, that was one of the best matches that I've seen, and I'm sure everybody will agree with me. But going into this match, Australia start as favourites. Amit, what do you make of this? Given that Australia actually, before they went into the World Cup, hadn't had a lot of preparation. They didn't play the Pro League, but ended up winning a bronze there. In this tournament, haven't conceded a single goal. Whereas for India, the problem of penalty conversions still continue. How do you see this match panning out?
It's going to be a long and hard match for the Indian team because they don't seem to have replicated whatever they had at Tokyo. If you're watching about the region, everything they've done after that, they seem to be underperforming. Things don't seem to be clicking. As you mentioned, the penalty corner routines are not clicking. They don't seem to have currently a second penalty corner specialist after Lucy. So that is kind of making them a bit predictable in penalty corners because if she is there, you know the ball is going to her. The opponents, the first rusher of the opponents knows that the ball is going to her. So it gets a little easier to block off. So your forwards earning you penalty corners is kind of coming to nothing. Besides that, we've spoken about this multiple times. That there seems to be a disconnect between the defense and the attack, which means there is something completely wrong in the midfield. So all of these things need to be worked on. Australia, obviously, as you mentioned, they come into the tournament as heavy favorites.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long evening for the Indian women's team and for Indian women hockey fans.
I like the way he says it's going to be a long evening for the hockey fans. Wind playing some kind of a spoil sport there with your mic. I can't hear you very clearly. It was a similar situation. Yeah, there was. We heard Sreeshankar say wind was a huge problem yesterday. Looks like wind's a huge problem here with Amit as well. But Sandeep, I think the bigger issue will be what kind of a mindset that India are going to be in terms of will they want to go attack? That's the kind of hockey that they've been playing. Or will they go on the defensive because it's Australia? Can they sustain that all-out attack game through the 4 quarters? I don't know. How do you see this?
It's like he rightfully points out at least one point, which is it's going to be a long evening. It's going to be a long 60 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a quarter to quarter really long. But what India is going to do is very, very clear. It's right there. It's very simple. They have to attack initially, try and get a goal, because if they get a goal against Australia, let's say in the first quarter of a PC of a field attempt, then the pressure is on the other side. Then they can go easily into a particular structure which is defensive. Otherwise, I see 4 players who probably hold the key to this match. Savita in the goalpost, Deep Grace Eka in the defense, Udita in the defense, and she really has to play what she played in the World Championships, where she really did brilliant hockey. And I do believe Neha now needs to throw away whatever baggage she has of whatever is in her mind, come to this game absolutely clean and then take it up.
Yeah.
This whole defensive structure is what is going to save us, because Australia is unbeaten in the CWG. They haven't conceded a single goal till now, which means that they are pretty decent in their defensive formation. I think what you are probably going to see is that they are going to be a little tentative, but once Australia get a goal, then they'll open up. That gives us an opportunity. So it's a little weird to say that, you know, let's open up and play. So even if we concede one, it gives us opportunities to score. But I don't think Shopman would probably go with that. She will go with a slightly defensive makeup. If I can take this match into a shootout, then there is a chance that India might get through. Otherwise, at this moment of time, it's not even a 50-50. It's a 70-30 in the favor of the Australians.
Not only have they not conceded a single goal, they've actually scored 16 goals in their 4 matches. So
it's like a full machine. I mean, with somebody like Jane Claxton, the captain midfield, 29 years old, 3 Commonwealth Games, and the kind of experience she brings, she actually understands what's happening in the opposition camp. She understands from the body play of players, she understands how your midfield is shaping up, she understands where your forwards are. And that is the way she will maneuver the game, not irrespective, but she has the capability to sometimes, if the coach says something, if she believes something else, she's probably going to rotate the strike around that. And I think the first quarter is going to give us a direction where this match is going to go.
The other thing is, Amit, just quickly before we wrap this up, Lalrim Siami, she looked like she was injured in the last game. Do you have any update on her?
I'm trying to get an update on her. I hope you can hear me this time around and not the wind.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm trying to get an update on her. It will be out soon on our website, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right then, gentlemen, we're out of time, but thank you so much, Amit Kamath, for taking the time out. I think he'll be at the hockey match, I'm guessing. And of course, there are wrestlers are going to be in action tonight as well, so he'll be covering that for us. But that's it from us, Sandeep and I. News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the Commonwealth Games and overall from the world of sports. So subscribe, hit that bell icon so you get a notification every time we go live. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.